I have been informed that it's totally wide open. Totally wide open. But open like what? Open like what? Open like the sky? Well, even the clouds got that closed, man. Open like what? Open like what? That's right. We're talking about deregulation. It's bad. It's not great. A lot of pollution, a lot of tortured lungs and misery, and it's not good. It's not good. I wouldn't if all the rules are removed and all the rich people can do whatever they want. I would advise y'all to take that to heart. The rules are gone. All this bureaucratic red tape, whatever you needed a license for, you don't need a license for that. Whatever the FDA regulations, you probably don't need to worry about that so much. If they start cutting out all the stuff that we rely upon so heavily, if you have your own means of production, if you yourself, if you're producing things, like here I am, I have a show. This is me filming a show. So, I have a show. I am producing a show. I have music. I make music. I am a producer of music. You can get land and you can produce produce. It's great. Pick something. Whatever you want. I got my CBDs. I got the Etsy's. I try my hardest. I try to get in where I fit in, and so far I haven't fit in nowhere. No how. It's very sad and lonely and frustrating. But we'll figure it out. Deregulation. Sorry. Commercial within a commercial. Deregulation goes both ways. These are not rivers. Take that into consideration. When these laws are deregulated, and the head of the SEC is just, I don't know, masturbating and snorting coke and not SECing. When the FCC is, I don't know, masturbating and snorting coke and not FCCing. When all these fucking assholes are fired and these new, weirder assholes replace them, they have no interest in doing the job. They're just going to watch it rot. So it's up to us to compost those turds and figure that shit out. We can do it. We can sort that shit out. As it's rotting, that's a great time to form your own private organization. You take their weapons. They have swords. They have guns. We're still on, I don't know, bows and arrows. We're still throwing rocks. We're at a disadvantage. These tools, for now, are still available for you. Touch them. Learn about them. Arm yourself. Because I have been informed that it's totally wide open. Totally wide open. Open like what? Open like The whole thing with Citizens United is awful. What it's doing to America is fucking it up for everyone and forever. It's making things really bad. You have to understand that as a human being in America, you are not a citizen. You are no longer just a citizen just because you're born here. Because there's too many of them born here, right? They're trying to fix that by getting rid of DACA. They're trying to fix that with mass deportations. And the other thing that they're going to do is say that you're not a citizen unless you're a shareholder. You are not a citizen unless you are a landowner. Now, if you're just a family member living on someone else's land, you'll still get to be a citizen under their, it's kind of like feudalism, but families, get your 5 acres while it's still cheap, y'all. Go live in the middle of the desert in Nevada. Go live in the middle of the desert in Arizona. Go live in the middle of the desert in California. Go live in the middle of the mountains. Go live in the middle of the hood. I don't know. I'm just saying, go find where either land or a very poorly maintained house is dirt cheap. They're everywhere. They're being bought up by very rich people who have no use or business for more land. They just want to keep it from you. Get your peace. Get your PEACE. It's time. You don't have later. You have now. You have 2025. You do not have 2026. You do not have 2027. If you want any hope of changing anything at all, you have to start economically and vote with your dollars. You have to start legally, incorporate yourself, become a corporation. You hear me? You are not a legal citizen as a human being. You will be as a corporation. Get your family incorporated. This is how you start your generational wealth. Get incorporated. You know how Trump only paid like $750? This so-called billionaire paid less than you make in like a month in taxes. How did he do that? Well, he hides all his assets. Because that's what they do in that classes. In the upper classes. You need to get your shit together, and you need to get it together fast. The upper classes hide their assets, and they do it by hiding them in LLCs. I learned this from Trump University. I'm not proud of that, and I didn't pay for it, which I am proud of. Someone else paid for it. I told them I didn't want to go. They said, you're going, but I didn't have to pay for it, and good for me. I learned the sneaky, sleazy shit that they're doing is they're hiding their assets, and it doesn't actually work. It's not a real thing, and it costs y'all a lot of money. Lawyers can see through it. It just makes more work for them, and then they bill you for it at the end. But it does kind of work here and there and everywhere. There's a reason why he pardoned Charles Kushner. There's that kind of stuff. You understand? So use their tools. The tool is not evil. The tool is an inert, inanimate object. It has no moral value. It has no... I believe it has... I believe everything does, but you have to focus. I have to focus. I'm trying to tell you something. These things that they are doing, everyone is allowed to do them. Do not just say, oh, they can do it because they're rich. They get away with it because they're rich. It's like, no, they get away with it because they figured it out. They get away with it because their parents taught them about it. And they didn't teach you because they don't want you to know. Because everyone can do it. And if everyone does it, it fucks shit up for them. It only works if some people do it. And if most people don't. This is how we start pulling the threads out of this sweater. Do you hear me? Get yourself incorporated. Become a real citizen. You got a problem with the company? Become a shareholder in that company. Buy as many shares as you can. Start profiting off of them. You say, oh, they're profiting off the backs of workers. Well, you can too. And I don't mean that I'm being bitter and I'm being cynical when I say this. The fact is that they don't want to hear shit from their customers. They don't give a flying fuck about you as a customer. As a shareholder, you have a vote. Each share is a vote. Vote with your dollars. Vote financially. Teach them what the fuck you care about. And do it hard. Do it as hard as you can. Because you don't have a lot of time. Okay? Okay. Okay? You promise me that you'll... Okay? You get it done. Don't fuck around. This is real life, and this is happening right now. It's only an oligarchy because you are not trying to get yours. You're trying to play their game the way they want you to play it. Play their game the way they don't want you to know about. Get yourself educated. SoFi, interactivebrokers.com are two websites that they get their business from you. They make their money from you in a good way. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some shit I'm not currently aware of, but what I'm telling you is that their classes, you don't even have to worry about an audit. They're just free on Coursera. They have them free on their own websites. If you have access to Interactive Brokers, which is its own thing, but SoFi, you can just get on there. And they have they have Investopedia. There's so many free resources where they're not hiding the financial education for certain groups. The financial information is not hidden from you. It's just not being taught in public school. They're not trying to train you on these things. This is something you have to go out and figure out for yourself. And it's true that money is fake. It's true that we made it up. Unfortunately, this is the reality we're living in. This is the system that we have to... These are the tools that we have at our disposal. If you want to live in a post-currency society, you have to be part of a currency society to make that happen. You have to be one of the people who controls resources and makes decisions. And guess what? That's what a CEO does. That's what a CEO is supposed to do. The head of every household is their own CEO. And you can make that more literal. You have to focus on building your assets, building your income, reducing your risk, which might be buying insurance, and it might be starting your own insurance company. These things have a spectrum. You don't have to think of things in black and white. There are shades, many shades and colors involved. I didn't want to say shades of gray. They took all the fun out of it. I'm so off track. I'm always so off track. Off the beat track. Go head for the hills. Fuck this shit. Don't worry about it. Whatever life you're used to, I know it's uncomfortable to get outside of your comfort zone. That's what it is. Duh. Duh. It's uncomfortable to leave your comfort zone. You have to do it sometimes. If you want to grow, right? Push yourself a little bit. Figure out where your push yourself a little bit limit is. For me, that's more in the comfort zone is I'm broke as fuck, but I have some time. I can learn some skills. The skills I already have, I can put to use in a video podcast thingy, whatever the fuck this is, in my own TV show. Ta-da! I can use my knowledge to my advantage, and the knowledge I'm gaining, I can use that where necessary too. I'm totally looking up into that Google security class. I want 6 figures. Fuck it. Right? So shit. So I'm broke as fuck right now. I could use the job. Look for there's always growing markets. It matters. I'm so off track. In the spirit of being a shareholder, you can increase your income with dividends. It's all connected. I say that a lot too. It's all connected. It matters. Everything is everything. You pull here and it's pulled over there. You do what you can, and then but here and now we'll talk about diamond investing for half a second. You can increase your income with side hustles. You can increase your income through dividends. You want to be a shareholder, pick shares and stocks that have dividends. Use those dividends to reinvest. It is super easy to do with stuff like Interactive Brokers. I don't know. They're not paying me to say this shit, so I'm not going to tell you all about it. I'm just going to tell you it's usually an option. There's usually, you might have to look around for it because they don't want to make things easy for you. None of these places wants to make everything completely and explicitly easy for you. Investopedia is like Wikipedia, so you could be all the way down a rabbit hole and be like, wait, now I don't know shit and I'm just lost. Right? You spend all day learning and you don't know shit. Learning, because you're just consuming information, not processing it properly. There's a really good free course, you don't have to worry about an audit, called Learning How to Learn, featuring Barbara Oakley. She is a doctor. Barbara Oakley, she is amazing. Amazing. It's a great class. And they spam me with resources. Every week I get like a new reading list. It's like, good luck to me, because my reading list is off the chain. It's like, my reading list has over like 2,000. It depends on what counts. If you count my YouTube watch list, that's over 2,000. If you count my Audible list, that's 1,000 plus. And I do. So it's like 3,000. I'm off track. I'm not reading any of that because I don't have time, because now I have a TV show and I have all these side hustles and I'm running a fucking farm and kind of and struggling with life, trying to find a day job because none of that is paying the fucking bills. And I'm like 9 years deep into this shit. We meaning me talking to the audience, because it's complicated. I don't want to get into it. Where was I? You gotta hustle. You gotta hustle harder than I've been hustling. And I've been hustling. And I've not been doing well. But also, I'm mentally ill, and I didn't have as high of a quality as education as other people, because I was being held back due to mental illness and behavioral problems. I lost my train of thought some more. When I say I don't have a lot of time, I mean in my brain. I mean in my brain. Your income can be a lot of different things. Side hustles are not always that expensive to start. Learning a new skill can lead to your side hustle. It can lead to a higher paying job that increases your income. Dividends will increase your income. You can have a job and charge people for rent. I know that people don't think that landlords have other jobs, but sometimes landlords have other jobs. Sometimes they're like you. They're one step ahead of you, where you're working 2 jobs to pay rent. Well, they're working 1 job and renting out a space to pay rent or a mortgage. Again, 1 step ahead. So jump to that level, then see where they're at, then understand that why they're problematic. This is all about, like, you're right. Like, a lot of these complaints that people have, they're right. They're so right, but they're wrong about why they're right. And getting to that financial education, being on the other side of that, where you're renting out a room, or where you have to hire someone to help you because you just can't do it by yourself. You just don't have the family. I don't have a big extensive family to do this. If you got a bunch of cousins and you're all tight, get together. Put your incomes together and make it happen. You won't believe how amazing your life can change if you get a few people to work together towards a common goal. Capitalism and socialism are not mutually exclusive. You really cannot have one without the other. Karl Marx could not write Das Kapital if there was no Kapital to Das about. Yeah, it's not either or. In So, socioeconomic processes happen over the course of centuries. The development of townships can happen over the course of decades. There's overlap between systems. We had an overlap between slavery and capitalism at the beginning of the country. Currently, we have an overlap between capitalism and feudalism. When we flip the script, we're not changing the capitalism, we're changing the feudalism. When we move forward, this part isn't what is changing first. This part changes first, and then this part catches up to it. We don't know what that stage of development is because we're not there as a society yet. We're still developing that aspect. We don't know what's beyond socialism because we haven't gotten beyond a foot in the water. You know, we could just do a cannonball and just see what happens, and I guess we kind of did with Russia and China to some extent, but that exactly carries over to my point. China is not strictly communist. China engages in capitalistic maneuvers. I don't know. They play the game. They might be the Communist Party, you know, or businesses might be run by the state, but those businesses are still conducting businesses with non-state run entities in America. This is not capitalism. It's just the feudalism that was there developed into socialism, and now the capitalism is working its way towards a new style, and we're probably going to end up looking to the east for our next phase of development. It wouldn't surprise me. But now I've gotten off track. You can't have one without the other, and you can go your own way, and do it my way. Well, your way. No matter what generation, we all had that. We have that feeling. We want that spirit of freedom. We want that. We don't want to let a bunch of rich folks decide what's what and how to do it. You got to look at how the stock market exists, why it exists. You got to look at how corporations exist, why they exist. You got to look at the means of production. You got to look at the logistics and the supply chains. You got to see how it all comes together. This is part of the grokking, right? So you do the thing. You got to understand. If you want to have a piece of the pie, those big corporations, when they say those big corporations control, it's like, yeah, they control. You vote with your dollars. When you put your money in a bank, you are saying, I trust you, the bank, to decide how this money should flow throughout society. When you put money towards your taxes, you're telling the government, hey, I've decided I trust you to how money should flow through society. And when you elect your leaders, the people you are electing, you are saying, hey, I know that you're the guy who's going to be guiding this flow. I know that you're the Congress people guiding the flow, and that together you're going to be choosing the Supreme Court members who guide flow for the next 40 fucking years. All of that took place from your dollars and your votes, but mostly your dollars. How you spend your time and how you spend your money is dictating this situation. It's not like if you change your behavior by yourself, it's not going to change nothing. That's a big part of the problem. But this is feudalism evolving into evolving into socialism. It's not that capitalism moves. It's the lever. It's the cog that turns the wheel to where the bottom, like Boethius, right? The spokes will rise. They just will. Time is a wheel. Society is a wheel. The spokes will rise. They just will. Because if we don't have money to spend, they can't do shit. If they just spend money amongst each other, then we're not a part of their society. And they can go fuck off and enjoy their society. That's their business. You understand? You feel me? You take your money or crypto. You can make your own crypto. You can just do that. And if you believe in it and if you stick with it, other people will believe in it. And then you can guide financially alone, by financial means alone. You could guide society. You start your business. You contribute to society. You can now ask the community to sponsor you for a piece of the company. That's your share. That's your share. It's your piece. The money in your bank that they're using. So you gotta follow the money, right? You gotta follow the individual companies to the parent corporations. And you gotta ask yourself, cui bono? Who profits from this shit, right? Who benefits from these decisions? It ain't you. You know it ain't you. Cream rules everything around us. Invest heavily in solar, and the oil companies can't compete. When the stock market has to obey the shareholders, all you have to do to become a shareholder is buy one share. All you have to do to be taken seriously among them is have $1 million worth of shares. That's hard to do by yourself. You got friends. You're all working 2 jobs just to be broke. You might have to put layers of family together and have some multi-generational family structures going on. You might have to get some tiny homes for your friend who's been couch surfing for a while. Get everyone together. Get everybody together. All together. Okay. Get your people, circle the wagons. Get your people together. Get your tribe together. Get your crew together. Mount up. Deregulators! Mount up. There you go. It's like that. They're going to deregulate all their shit. That means that the market man is the one who benefits. The old money people are the one who benefits. In the old money book, he refers to it as an orgy. Not like the sexual orgies are always happening. Just assume that on any given Tuesday, that's just how they have sex, right? But I'm talking about a feeding frenzy. And they talk about it with JFK, and they talk about it with read the damn book. I didn't write notes on that one because that was before I started taking notes. I wasn't in that habit. It's a habit I'm trying to build, and I made the decision to build the habit after I wrote that book and was like, man, I wish I had taken notes on it. And I just have too many books to read to reread it right now. But there are institutions in place. Harvard, for example, is one of the ones. Their endowment fund, I forget what they said, is more than all the teachers combined. They're putting money towards war. They're putting more money towards Israel and that whole situation. They're shit, and they don't need our respect. They don't deserve their prestige if they're gonna keep going like they're going. They need to look up to UC Davis, who's setting a fine example. They need to look slightly up and more or less equally sideways towards like Johns Hopkins or Duke. I don't know. So some of these other schools are just they're getting a little better at what they do, and Harvard just wants to keep everything Harvard. Harvard's been here before America was here. Harvard, in some ways, is more American than America, and in many ways, more European than America. We don't necessarily need Harvard to stay American. Harvard needs America to stay Harvard. Where was it? C.R.E.A.M. Dollar bills, y'all. So you follow the money. The money goes all over the place. You look at the private equity things. I want to do a whole separate episode about private equity things and about conglomerates. Those are episodes all unto themselves. I don't even know how to organize them yet. So we'll get there. I just want to lay some foundational knowledge for you. Okay? I'm just wanting you to peep some game so that you can play it. Alright? Somewhere in the world, there's some land. It's your land. It's waiting for you. There's slightly enough people to land ratio. We could do with the population reduction. Birth control is a good thing right now. We could just fuck because fucking is fun. You know, we don't have to always procreate each and every time. They want that so that they can push them into public education and guide the educational process for their own benefit. So they have more voters to vote for their shitty plans, and they can manipulate more people to do that. And that you're too busy worried with your 12 kids to fucking think about anything beyond your own household. They really want that to happen. C.R.E.A.M. Dollar bills, y'all. There are major institutions that you should be paying attention to. They're called the Diamond. I'm doing this live, so the Diamond Aristocrats. Buy some. Buy shares in all of them. As many as you can. If you can only afford $5 a month, do it. Do whatever you can do. Do the most you can do. Do not ever sell your stock. This is not how stocks work. There's this Wall Street bullshit where they're day traders. They like arbitrage opportunities. And I love arbitrage. In fairness, I love arbitrage. But I like when you get a good deal on something. It's not necessarily that you sell it at the end, which is also a possibility. Maybe you don't really care about the thing, but you take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity so you can afford to take care of the thing you care about, right? This is how layers are built. Money exists. It's a tool. We invented it for a reason. Some of that has to do with exploitation, but when the exploitation stops, money is still useful. We probably wouldn't have MRI machines without it. It's really important. So, there's just the flow of objects. We don't need all of them, and we can organize it more efficiently so that more people are together, but they have their own space. I don't know how it's going to be. I'm not a city planner. I'm not an engineer. I'm just some guy with a fucking podcast. All right, I'm just trying to tell you what I know, what I think I know, as best as I can. Warren Buffett doesn't buy a stock and sell it on the same fucking day. Warren Buffett buys as many shares as he can afford, and he holds them for as long as he can. You hear me? Warren Buffett isn't trying to flip a pancake he's not trying to flip a pancake for tomorrow's bread. He's holding on to the flour he bought, and he's working on the field. He's got the field up. He's looking at the field to buy next. All right, so those websites exist. You can get your own factories. It's expensive. There's ways to leverage that. If you have a clear business plan and the person who's investing in you is making money off of that, they're going to invest in you because they're making money off of that, and that's kind of all they care about. And if they don't have to think about it and they don't have to deal with you, the better. If all they have to do is sit back and collect a check, they ain't worried about your ass, right? They ain't worried about your ass until you raise a stink. So you focus on that. You keep that in mind, and you keep that you keep that close to your heart. It's important. You invest in whatever company you like for whatever reason you like, but also and always put whatever you can. It probably won't be like, realistically, somewhere between $5 and $30 is going to be the minimum. It depends on where you're buying your shit from, but realistically is you better have at least $5. I don't know how you're going to get that $5. It's not my business. Put that shit into a dividend aristocrat every single month, every paycheck, every chance you get. Put a little bit here, a little bit there, and never sell that shit. Don't ever sell that shit. You know why? Because Johnson & Johnson is on that list. Walgreens was on that list, and we'll see in the near future whether or not they're still on that list. Stay tuned. I'm partial to Archer Daniels Midland. There's a lot on that list, and they're all institutions. There's like McDonald's. They're like, they pick a place. They're there, right? It's a long list. There's usually, it depends on what website you scroll through, but you go Dividend Aristocrat and you write it down your favorite companies, and you put $5. Just $5 here, $5 there, $5 here, $5 there, and whatever you do, always have it reinvest itself. All those dividends reinvesting themselves. You'll have to scroll around. It's a bitch and a half, but somewhere there's going to be a button, or choose a different website because somewhere there's a button. And if they're doing it right and they care about you, there's a button. C.R.E.A.M. It rules all of us, whether we like it or not. You don't want war? Don't invest in war. Invest in technologies that you like. Invest in solar companies. You bet your ass I'm going to be investing in cannabis companies. I'm going to be investing in all those psychedelic companies, all those startups. I love EVs. I'm going to be investing in all the EVs, as many as I can, especially if they're doing hydrogen first. If they're doing hydrogen above lithium ion, then I'm about it, and I'm getting to it. And you should too. There's a piece for you out there, and you have to work for it, and you have to build towards it. You can't just let it sit. You can't just let it sit there and let those rich fuckers take another piece of the pie. They're fat enough as it is. All right? Fuck. C.R.E.A.M. Design a product. Learn some code. Figure your shit out. There's skills and stuff. Whatever you always wanted to learn, do that. Go there, right? Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss, right? One of the things that I'm going to be learning, I don't know when and I don't know how, but I'm super curious about like woodworking. I love the idea of building furniture. Like, I'm like, fuck you guys, I don't want to pay for this crap. It's more fun to build it myself, and then I can look at it forever and be like, damn, I built that shit. And I want to feel that way. I love feeling that way with music. I'm feeling that way right now as I'm making these tapes, and it's December 26th right now. I've been filming because I've had all this shit in my head for so long. I should have done this years ago. I don't know. But you know, that platitude about the trees, you know, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. And same deal. Trees are a perpetual source of income. They're a perpetual resource until they die. And I suspect that a lot of trees would live a lot longer with better human care. Every tree has a companion plant. Nothing grows in a thing. We're going to do a whole episode about this also. The idea is that you get your shit in combinations. You do this in combinations so that each one of those is its own stream of income eventually, right? You don't just kill the lamb and sell the meat. You shear the wool forever until you don't. And then you can sell the meat for dog food and make the bones into gelatin. You use every single part of the animal, right? And this is not just about animals right now. I hope that my vegetarian friends are hearing what I'm saying and apply the metaphor however they see fit. When you consume, when you produce, you consume the whole thing. You don't want to leave any scraps for your competitors. You're my competitor. That line runs so deep, y'all. I need to watch that movie again. It's such a great movie. We got stuff like Alibaba. The channels of capitalism are totally wide open. There's more opportunity than our ancestors. Everyone has their own individual oil well. Everyone has their own gold mine to worry about. Everyone has their chance. It has to do with following your blitz. The thing that you're interested in, do that. Get good at it. Get as good as you can possibly be at it. Find a way to take that thing and make it many. Be fruitful and multiply. It's right there. These are lessons. Okay? What you want to do, in addition to what you know how to do and you like doing, if you have trouble, for example, deciding between this or that, if you have trouble deciding what is needed in your community, you look around in your world and you're like, you're just looking around and you're like, what's missing? What should be here? In my idea of a perfect world, what should be here that is not here? What's missing? How can I help? It's an important question. A lot of entrepreneurs started with a frustration. A lot of really rich people, not Donald Trump, maybe Elon Musk with PayPal, maybe Bezos with Amazon, because he wanted just a store where he could buy books online. He wanted to buy any book just in case. Or I don't know, he just wanted access to books in a way that's different from the library. I mean, it is something else now, but that's the root, right? That's the source. You look around your community. I know Cody says it differently. Cody's like, oh, well, it's just Walmart, but on the internet. And yeah, but at some point there wasn't Walmart.com. And Bezos is just like, yoink, got him, right? So he has a story about, like, it's just like him and a couple other guys, and they don't even have a table to package their first few boxes. And some other guy besides Bezos is like, what if we got packing tables? He's like, packing tables? Why didn't I think of that? That's the greatest idea ever. He says that in the shareholder level letter. He gives credit, and he laughs at himself. Those are good qualities to have in a leader. Not saying that Bezos is a good leader, because he's not. But if you want to be a leader, look at that part of what he's doing, not this outer space part. Look at the fact that in his early letters to shareholders again, They want to kiss ass to the shareholders. You own a piece of the company. Their company doesn't exist without their shareholders. That's why they make these silly, stupid decisions. You gotta be the one who has enough. You gotta get your people together and be enough of a voting bloc in shareholder meetings to raise enough rabble. You gotta have a long-term business plan. You gotta have a long-term strategy. These justice appointees are gonna be there in 40 years if we don't do what we gotta do. 40 years. 40. Right? Our kids are gonna have kids, and those kids might have kids. Depends on how young y'all start fucking. I don't know. Not my business, but if you hear me, the justices that are causing the damage that is going on right now some of the appointees in the next 4 years might be there in 2060. We gotta get our shit together, because they got their shit together. You heard? C.R.E.A.M. We can be those shareholders. We can get land. We can take whatever's going on in the city and dissipate so they can't profit from the city system anymore. We dissipate throughout the American territory and get our peace wherever we can afford it, and however many people it takes to get together to afford it, each section. We have our dividend aristocrats, and we're getting money trickling in and building up, and now we are shareholders in the institutions, and we're moving into red state. We're moving into red grids, the gerrymandering. They gerrymander based on this whatever. In the next 4 years, there's probably not going to be enough census stuff going on. I mean, they'd have to work really hard if we're all just flowing into wherever, right? If you're red, go blue. If you're blue, go red. Fuck it. Go nuts. Figure it out. Somewhere there's a place for you, and if you wanted to get out of where you're at, do it. Like, I can't afford a house where I'm at. I started in a tent, y'all. I started in a tent in a little patch of desert. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna make the most of it. And within a month, some guy was like, hey, I got a trailer for sale. I'll sell it to you for like $200. So then I'm in this little like camper van, right? It doesn't drive, but I can live in it. I can sleep in it, right? And sooner or later, I was able to get a single wide trailer. And one of these days, I would dream about maybe building my own house with my own hands so that I can look at my house with pride in my soul and be like, wow, what a sense of accomplishment. And this is what's missing from our culture right now. This is the thing. Your mental health depends on doing this. Your financial health depends on doing this. Our communities' spiritual health depends on doing this thing, and you better believe that they're doing it. They've been doing it, and they're going to keep doing it. If you want your peace, you have 5 minutes. You have to the end of 2025 to get yours. And remember that corporations are more people than people. They have more rights than citizens. They're investigated less. They're serving less jail sentences. They're more likely to get murdered by video game characters, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe don't fuck over children, cancer patient children, and you wouldn't get got. That's none of my business. Right? None of my business. Tell him. What was I saying? C.R.E.A.M rules everything around all of us. Get your peace. Disperse. Be a shareholder. Be a corporation. Get your peace. PEACE. Get your peace. Right? If they can't If they're not gonna get you fucking, if they're not gonna let you do it the way you want to do it, break the door down. Don't let them get away with this shit. If they're deregulating, say, well, that rule applies to me. I'm American. That rule applies to me. I'm a corporation. That rule applies to me. I'm a 501c3. Whatever you gotta be, do that shit. C.R.E.A.M. Get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. Get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. It's the only way I can focus is to anchor myself. This is super important. If you have ADHD, find some anchors. You're talking about a subject, try to keep, it'll help your listeners stay focused, and it'll help you stay on track. Get the money. This is my topic. I'm trying to lay some knowledge on you right now, and I can't stay focused worth a fucking shit. But I have my anchor point, I'm ready to go. Cash rules everything around me. C.R.E.A.M, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. Great. Okay, so you, in your C.R.E.A.M, rising to the top, you have to watch out for all kinds of shit. And that's a separate worth thing. And there are many mental tools, and that's another video. This video, for all that rambling, is about what you gotta do for you and your shit. You look at the structures and how there are institutions that go back older than this country. Harvard University is one of those institutions. Right? When Harvard talks about money, listen. But listen carefully, because they're not talking about what they're talking about. They're telling two stories. Right? There's a story for them. There's the report that the administrator, there's this book called Old Money, and they talk about Harvard. It's a really good book. You should read that book. And they talk about how they won't let Jews rise above a certain station. And you'll see that's going to be true for Asian people, Jewish people, black people, Mexicans. They're only going to get so far. They're going to get to a certain point. President might just be a trash position now, so maybe president is okay. They're going to get to a point, and then they're not allowed to rise. There's a level here, and no matter how hard they try to push past that shit, they're never going to get quite to where the old money rests. Okay? When you buy land somewhere down the line, the land from America, you are buying it from them. And if they say it's theirs, well, there's only so much they can do, but there's a lot less that you can do. It's still the best that we got. And one of the things that he said in that book that's really fascinating to me is that they are afraid of market man. Market man, like Trump and Musk. But the thing about it is that maybe old money is gone. And maybe we don't know about it. Maybe this is the old money, and it's just manifesting in some weird fucking way. Where they're like, they pursued market man strategies so hard that they pursued market man strategies so hard that they became parodies of both. Right. So they put Jews in places of prestige, in places like Harvard, and they get ones that are specifically good at finance so that they can perpetuate a myth that's been going back for like at least 125 years. I'm not sure. It's probably old. It probably goes back to the story of Judah betraying Jesus. And I just think that's so cruel, and it's unfair that I have to suffer this generational trauma from that shit. Oh man. points. You gotta look at two messages. Anchor points, y'all. They work. Anchor points, y'all. They work. You gotta look at two messages. So sorry about that. Anchor points work. Two messages. I got lost for a minute. It's okay. We're back now. The Jew has two messages. He has a message for the media, and he has a message for the rich people, the truly rich people, the people who trade islands with each other without paying money. They just, I'll trade you this like baseball cards. I'll trade you the Solomon Islands for the Galapagos. Done. We don't know about it. They need to make money, so get a war going, and then they do this whole fucking thing, and they make a whole big fucking stink about it to get us all riled up, to get us pro-war. There's a really cool movie, Wag the Dog. God, that's such a good movie. I've only seen it once, and I think about it all the time. It is such a good movie. Go watch that movie. It's fucking great. C.R.E.A.M. You, no matter what race you are, and I do mean this specifically, I'm talking about me and my people. I'm Jewish. I am talking about they will specifically take a Jewish person and specifically put them in a position, in a place where they can be in the middle, so that when they need someone to throw under the bus, they put the Jew there, right? So Mr. Jew Accountant Man is a stereotype. He's played into his own stereotype, and they play it up because they thrive off, they live from that. He manages their money. I hate talking about this. I hate saying it like this. Old Money is a great book. I didn't expect it. It was very uncomfortable to listen to because of how they think and how they act. And I'm talking about, you know who else is a Jew? Irish people. You know who else is the Jew? Poles, Italians, Hungarians. You better believe if you're from a country that speaks some kind of language, it's not like Germanic and Anglican, maybe some Viking shit. If you're not just the whitest white that you could white out, doesn't even white it out because it's whiter than white out. If you're not one of those white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, you're in fucking trouble. And you need to be careful. I hope you're being careful. Usually, when I hear people say, I can't afford a house anymore, what they mean is they want to live in the city, they want to live in the suburbs, they want to live where they're living. They have a certain way that they're used to, and they want to stay there. And in order to stay there and afford a house, it isn't going to happen. That's not part of their plan. No, that's not part of their plan. I don't know what your plan is going to be. I'll tell you what I was thinking when I went out into the desert. I had an idea. So I had an epiphany. I was like, well, I want to make movies. I want to focus on my art, whatever, music lately, but I want to focus on my art. I don't want to have to pay a bunch of bills. So how do you do that? How do you do that? How's that function? Right? I want to get my bills down. I think for me, the clue came from The Cash Flow Game by Robert Kiyosaki. They have their assets and liabilities and their expenses and their income. Right? They have a little quadrant going on. So if you want to The goal is to have more assets and less liabilities, to have more income, right, and less expenses. And that's like the path. I guess you chart it this way, so the path is upward trend. It's an upward trend. That's the important thing. Where was I? You gotta pick something. You can't just, it's not enough to sacrifice. You're already not socializing, so what do you care if you live in the boonies or in the city? Right? The main difference is you're paying $3,000 for rent, or you could be paying like $500 for a mortgage. You hear what I'm saying to you? The difference in, the problem isn't that you can't afford a house. The problem is that you can't afford to play the private equity owns all the real estate in the city game. So don't live in the fucking city, brah. I don't know, man. Get out. Get out of there. Fuck that shit. What are you doing? Right? It's just, when I hear people like Cody, well, I guess Katie figured it out. When I hear people like Cody saying, what do you mean I can't afford a house? Like, you want to afford a house in Los Angeles. Well, that's why you can't afford a house. You want to live in fucking Los Angeles. Fuck that shit. Right? And this isn't an East Coast, West Coast thing. Right? This is true for Houston. This is true for St. Louis. This is true for Detroit. Right? You want to afford the places. Either buy a rundown place and fix it up one piece at a time. And it'll definitely cost some dimes. But it's worth it. It's worth... How do you want to spend your life? You got so much time on this earth. You got only so many years to be. You want to spend it working a minimum wage fucking job day in and day out while some guy who's making more money than you and living a better life than you is yelling at you because you didn't store the napkins properly. You hear what I'm saying? You don't want to live that life. And if you're living that life, you owe it to yourself to take time out of your life to learn a new skill. If you're already doing that, if you have a good skill, then the next thing to do is learn the skill of marketing yourself, which I'm still struggling with. I have skills I need to learn. I'm not immune to this. I'm telling you because I've been through it. I'm still going through it. And if you start going through it, you will know that at least one person has been going through it and is going through it with you. At least one person. I'll tell you what though, there's a whole lot of us. Somewhere, somehow, there's a whole lot of people around who are just in that headspace. You can see it, you can hear it. You start on your path, you'll hear how Katie is on that path too. You'll hear how Cody is in denial about that shit. Because he came from Ohio and moved to LA, so he doesn't want to go back to Ohio where the houses are cheap. Then he wants to sit there and be like, I can't afford houses. Why can't I afford a house? I don't know, dude. Maybe you should go to Ohio and check out the fucking dilapidated... Buy one of them $10,000 houses. Spend $50,000 fixing it up. You got the money for it. You got the time for it. Just do it. Pardon me. Pardon me. That last bit of rant was for Cody specifically. A lot of us do not have that kind of money and time. Right? I have the time. Being broke as fuck, it's not gonna help me much, but I do have time until I have a job. I have time to do shit like this, and it's why I try to film in advance, just in case I have a job. I can still do a couple more episodes and buy myself some time by being proactive, and that is more or less the logic that you need to have as a foundling as a budding entrepreneur. You are now welcome to late stage capitalism, and it's every man for themselves. But here's the fun part. It doesn't have to be. Something emerges from this, or there's two paths. There's one dark one that's pretty clear that we're on, and we should stop doing that as soon as possible. If you want any hope at all of getting out of shit as soon as possible, you should try it my way. I highly recommend it. It is stressful. It's a lot of hard work. You're going to be dirty and unable to shower at some point in the process. You're going to be hungry and tired and thirsty and stressed out at many points in the process. You're going to want to break down and cry. You're going to bleed. You're going to bruise. I don't know what to tell you. You're going to suffer somehow in your life. You still have choices and you still have freedom. You should choose your suffering carefully. Okay? What's worth suffering for? What do you want to do with your life? Okay? Because you don't want to suffer for some CEO that's never going to meet you and is never going to care how badly they're treating you and how little you're getting paid. How much shit you're getting. He's never going to care how much shit he's giving you, is where I was going with that. But let's get to the real shit without swearing so much. I'm sorry to me who has to censor this later. Who was I? There's land out there, and when I say land, I mean land. Just the dirt. No water, no electricity, no sewer. Just dirt, okay? But now it's your dirt. It's your dirt. And don't think that rich motherfuckers ain't trying to buy up all of it before you even know what's going on. They're trying to buy up all of it and then rent it to you, so you don't even have a choice in the matter. And it's going to get to that point with all this overpopulation that they're pushing for. So you need to get wise. You need to get smart, and you need to get your shit to fucking together. You ready? You have assets? No. You have liabilities? Yes. You got expenses? Yes. You got income? Kinda. Barely. What you gotta do first is get some assets. Okay? Do what you can for free to better your situation. It could be different for a lot of different people. It doesn't cost anything to write, and it might be good for your soul. You might find that what you're writing is relatable to other people in the world. They might find meaning that you didn't even realize was there, because you're just writing, but then you realize later, oh, this is all this anger you had at your parents. And then a lot of other people will pick up on that and be like, oh, this is a story about reconciliation with family, and you're like, whoa, I just meant a story about a princess and a dragon, but wow, that's some really insightful feedback, Mr. Critic person, and I'm really grateful to you. That doesn't usually happen. Usually critics are mean, and the person who made the artwork is sad. But you hear what I'm saying. Sometimes these things, just because you go off and you write whatever you feel like writing, because it's fun, because it's a stress reliever, and guess what? It doesn't cost you nothing to start typing or start. It might cost you some pen and paper, but it doesn't cost you nothing. It doesn't cost much to do what you got to do. So do it. It's worth it. Start a hobby. Do a little bit. Get some practice in there. It's worth it. It's worth your time. Well, we'll go into MOOCs in greater depth in a different episode. What you need to understand now is that it's a place where you can go for free and get some education. Now, it's free to take most of the classes most of the time. To receive the information is usually free. There's a tiny little button at the bottom of all the forums, and it says audit, and they really try to hide it from you. They make it really hard to find, but it's always there. Asterisk. I can vaguely remember at some point that it wasn't there, but it's probably not for specializations, or they try their hardest to make it hard to find. But I promise you that if you look really, really hard, you will find it, and I can't think of a specific exception to that at this moment. That's what I know. Use the MOOCs, do your research, look for the like Department of Labor, statistics, stuff like that. Figure out where the job growth is, and learn that skill. Google security is a good one. That's a job right now kind of thing. You got it. You can learn it in a year or less, and then you have a job. I mean, a good job, and it's going to pay like 6 figures. It's going to pay, I think, 120,000. I'll put it up on the screen. I'll look it up, the most current number. But you hear what I'm saying? There's something out there. You don't know what it is yet. You have to explore a little bit. You have to explore inside yourself, and you have to explore outside. Just what's out there. One of the funny clips from Archer. They're in the morgue. It's in season 8. They're in the morgue and they're like, "I'm not going to be here next week." It's like, "Oh, that's right. What are you doing again?" "I'm lumber inspector." "Wow, I never thought of that." It's like, "Yeah, because you got no vision, Danny. This is your world." He starts eating a hot dog. He's like, he doesn't care. He's like, and the Danny's just like, "Hey, yeah." He just accepts his place in life. Don't be Danny, right? Now I'll tell you, lumber inspector doesn't pay very well either. I looked into it. I mean, it's a good job, and someone's got to do it, and it's a job that's relevant to the ecosystem. If you care about the environment, then you should care how we destroy trees and be part of the inspection process and make sure that people are following the rules, because they're there for a reason, right? We did environmental studies to make those rules. This is your world. Learn to be a mechanic. Learn to code. Get a skill. There are skills that are always kind of in demand. Coding doesn't necessarily pay the best, but sometimes it does. And especially if you make your own software, then you're really in the money. If you make your own apps, I'm nowhere near that. I don't know how to do that. I can't teach that to you. That's something that you can learn through a MOOC, and you can teach yourself how to get there. You can do this. I believe in you. You can do this. All right? It's your life. You pursue something that interests you, something you've always been curious about. Take the next step, a little step. Don't commit to the whole thing yet. Start to, like what I've been doing. I do one episode at a time. I speak my mind. I have all these things in my heart, and you can do that with a new skill. And some things are they're evergreen. As long as we have cars, we're going to need mechanics. Right? And if you are a good mechanic, you can do a lot with that. You might be the next Fisker. You might be what Musk advertises himself to be. You could be that guy. You could be the next well, that's embarrassing. I'm in the middle of the Toyota way right now. I'll put his name and face on the screen. Sometimes assets aren't tangible. Some assets are things that aren't assets yet. They're talents right now, but those are assets. They're interests, they're hobbies right now, but they will be assets. You can't put a monetary value on them, and that's why they don't show up on that grid. But they are your assets, and you will have to work them to the most and best that you can. Be ready for it. It's important. Now, as demonstrated in the beginning clip, you can't, there's only so much you can cut out expense-wise. There's limits. If you want your own eggs, You might want to get your own chickens. You don't need a rooster to lay eggs. You need a bull to have calves, but you don't need a rooster to lay eggs. You just need chickens. You need to keep them warm as chicks. You need incubators. You need heat lamps. When they get big enough, they generate a lot of heat, just snuggled up together and rubbing feathers. They generate a lot of heat. The inside of a hen house is like 10 degrees hotter than the outside. You gotta account for that. You gotta make sure that there's cooling systems for them to not overheat in the summer. That they will figure out their own hiding spots and find their own shade, because chickens are pretty dang smart. This is something that you can do in urban environments. You may or may not have a neighbor like this already, and you maybe hate them for doing it, but now it's time to get your own damn chickens. That one chicken with the eggs you get, you probably need 13 to have a dozen eggs on a regular basis. But then you have enough to start selling eggs to your community, and you can sell them. Right now it's like 50 cents an egg, and that's a lot, but you could sell them for $0.25 an egg, and people will be jumping for the price. Right? And it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to deal with the permits. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. If you sell eggs, it helps to obey the law, but it's not my business if you don't. Just be careful and do whatever is right for you and your economic needs, and then make sure you're as legitimate as you possibly can be. Now, raising food is a lot more complicated than all this, and it's important for you to follow your own steps and do your own research and figure out what you really like to eat and how much space that you're going to need to maintain that sort of diet. You could be raising pigs. You could be raising cows. You can be raising sheep or goats. You are probably going to want to save up for these things, and you're going to want to save up double than you think you're going to need. One of the earliest books to really inspire me on this way is called Possum Living. It's one of the most important books I've ever read. You should read it. Go out yonder and read that shit. It's good. It's a good book. It talks about how to buy foreclosed housing. Some of that is very out of date, but it's breadcrumbs. It was true at the time. It's not that much different now. Figure out what's changed and keep going. The advice is still the advice. And it's coming back around to what I'm saying about reducing your own bills. You want to reduce your big ticket items. You're going to want to get some solar panels. If you do that in the city, I tried to work for Sunrun, and they fucked me over in some fun ways almost immediately. And there's other companies. I'll put their competition up on the screen. I applied for them too, and they gave you this really cool book. It's in storage right now, so I can't show you. But it's a Christopher Nolan, how he made Tenet, like the behind the scenes. It's like a coffee table book, and he just pulled it off the coffee table. It's like, well, you like film, and I'm definitely not going to hire you, but here, I think you might like this. And yeah, we could just buy another one, because they make bank. Those fucking salespeople make bank. Learn to sell shit. That's not. I've been trying to learn that as a skill. I'm not. Sorry. No, it's not gonna happen. So if you learn to sell shit, you can be the grease that is flowing through these wheels, and you'll find your way. I get a lot of people are not into the capitalistic thing, but that's what I'm saying is we're all going to have our niche. If you are comfortable being part of capitalism, but you want to get out of the rat race, sales is great. If you want to get out of the rat race sooner, get some cheap as fuck land, Visit it as often as possible. Build it up as much as you can until you're able to actually live on it. And on that day, you're free. It's very possible and easy for people of authority to take your land away from you. It's very easy for someone who's just a bully to fuck with you on your land because they're jealous and high on drugs. Ask me how I know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I'm not ready yet. You might need a gun out there. And I'm not telling you what to do with that gun, but you're gonna get fucked up if you involve the police afterwards. After you defend your territory, you're gonna get your shit fucked up. And we'll talk about it later. Assets, liabilities. A gun is a liability. Having assets is a liability. Because everyone wants to take your shit. Everyone. Mostly the government is going to try to find ways to make this private equity property and not your property. Someone with more money than you will buy their way into owning your land, even if it's more expensive to own it than to just let you have it. They'll take it away from you just because they want to. And you have to keep that in mind. You want to be in the best position you can be in the eyes of the law. As long as in the eyes of the law, you're in the best position. You got to do it. You got to make sure you dot your T's and cross your I's. What was I talking about? Liabilities, assets, expenses. You'll notice that some of these things add expenses to your shit. Expenses you don't really have. There's a limit to what you can do. And I get that. I jumped right into it. I dove into the deep end head first. I went a little crazy for my trouble. Both in the process, both in doing so and because I did so. Like before, during, and after, I had bouts of insanity, and that's its own episode for sure. Where was I? You have your expenses, you have your income. You can boost your income by learning a new skill, which costs time more than money. Do what you gotta do. Just hear me when I say that the better you are at your job, the better you are at the new skill that you're learning, the better chances you have of getting away from the shit job you currently have. Electricity. I got a few minutes. Let's talk about electricity. Solar panels are cool. Get them. It's not that complicated. You should take a class. I took one that was, at the time it was like $100. It's probably more now, but it was like $25 a unit for a 4-unit class, and give or take, whatever. It had a book. The book was $150. It's not cheap. It's not nothing. I get that it sucks. We built a fake roof and then put real solar panels on them and hooked them up to a real inverter and turned a switch and really powered some shit with solar panels that we really hooked up as a team. And they basically was how to get up on a roof and install solar panels. And fuck, you don't have a roof? Now you know a little. Now I know a little more about roofing than I did before I took that class. It's cool shit, and it's just a junior college. It's Diablo Valley College in Pleasant Hill. But these classes are everywhere because it's a national certification. It's the solar panel installation. I forget what it's called. It's part of being an electrician. And this comes back around to learning a new skill. You can get paid apprenticeships. You get paid to learn how to be an electrician. You get paid to learn how to be a plumber. There are good unions in America, and thank God for unions. There are some great unions in America taking care of their citizens, and you might want to learn one of those skills. It might be dirty, it might be sweaty, it might be hard, but that will help you when you move out to the wilderness to start your own life. These are all useful skills. Steel workers get paid like $70,000, $80,000. It's worth it. And a lot of these jobs, they'll hire you even if you're a felon. You got, it's a lot of open doors down the road. There's nothing wrong with learning a trade. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for your character. It'll make you a better, stronger, smarter human being just by learning a new trade. Let's talk about electricity. You get six 6-volt batteries. They're like golf cart batteries, go-kart batteries. Golf carts, go-kart. And have a drinking game. You could start a drinking game for all my Archer references. You get 6. I'll draw a diagram and I'll put it up on the screen. Fuck it. Do I have paper? Boom. Okay, so you get 6-volt batteries. 6-volt batteries. This is 36. You're running them in series and in parallel together. You see that? Okay, so the 6 steps up to 12, and you go along the 3, and now you have. I know I drew this correctly. I'm pretty sure I drew this. I don't know that I drew this correctly. I'm pretty sure. You hear what I'm saying? You have series and parallel. Yeah. Series, parallel. Now you have 12. Now you have your voltage. Okay. You run the solar panel into the top here, and you run your inverter out the other side. The inverter goes to your fuck. What's this thing called again? God damn. It goes to this. Brain fart. You wire your inverter to that motherfucker and you're good to go. You wire everything else through it. You heard? You heard me? Alright? You're going to want to wear thick leather or rubber gloves. You're going to want to wear something that is non-conductive. Non-conductive gloves and very thick. One useful tool. I don't have pockets here, but you keep your one hand in your pocket. I got one hand in my pocket. The other hand is messing with the electricity. Okay? You're wearing denim jeans especially because you're something that is non-conductive. Cotton isn't conductive. So you keep your hand in your pocket and you handle the wires. You wear like rubber, thick. There's electrician's boots, not steel toe. Yeah? You follow? Good. Now you don't have to do solar, you could do wind. In the desert, it's a really high wind environment, and it's as simple as you think it is. You get a generator. I bought mine for like $68. By the time I tell you this, it's going to drive the price up, and I'm sorry, future me, for that. But you got to help the community. You can't just hoard it all for yourself for profit. So, it was tempting, but I'm going to do it this way instead. You can just weld. There's some really cool videos on it on YouTube. You can just weld. It's work. It's welding. I don't know how to weld now, but I learned a little bit, and the guy said it's like that you should do that. Just do it. Don't worry if you know how. It's easy. You got to wear all your safety. You got to put safety first. You want to keep all. You're gonna need your hands, your fingers, your toes, your legs. You're gonna need your eyes and ears if you want to succeed in this. And there's people out there doing it in a wheelchair. It's real. You gotta have balls to do this. You have lady balls. You gotta have man balls. You have tennis balls. I don't know. You gotta. It takes cojones. It takes guts. This is not for the timid or weak. If you want to be timid or weak, then stay submissive under the capitalist regime and witness the fall from the inside out and probably die in the process. Hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but that's not a safe road either. It's less in your control. You have less say in the matter. It doesn't make it any less dangerous. Just you're underfoot. You're under the feet of giants who will be tussling over your carcass. So get out of there. I'm telling you how. I'm telling you how to do it. Have you heard me yet? Good. Let's keep it moving. You want to keep your electricity bill down. You want to keep you kind of need internet to get this done. In this day and age, it's books or internet, and good luck finding all the books. It's hard. It's hard, and you moving them around and keeping them from falling apart in harsh weather conditions. You'd be better off with the internet, and then you're like, oh fuck, now I gotta rely on what? Starlink, Usenet, some bullshit like that. I gotta rely on Elon Musk for internet. Well, I don't have any easy solutions for that one. Kind of, yes. The answer to that question is yeah, you do. You would have to. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's why it helps to do this in stages. It helps to do this from where you are at and start there, and you know what you're saving for, and you have a specific price, and it makes it easier to plan. It doesn't make it perfect. You're gonna have problems. You gotta be on your toes to do this. You gotta be on your all 10 toes. On the one hand, you're bringing your expenses down. You're figuring out your own electricity. You're figuring out your own food. You're figuring out your own housing. As far as housing goes, you only have a piece of land. You're gonna have to dig a big old frickin' pit for sewage. It's called a septic tank, septic pit. A leach field, really. You have a purple pipe. I believe that there are some that are porous. They have holes, and if they don't, you can drill them in there. It helps to learn how to do gray water systems before you start doing your house stuff. It's another class that they had at TVC, but there's a book. I'll find it and I'll post it here. Gray water systems. So you can basically your fresh water to drink, to wash dishes. Yeah, the stuff that you want, the stuff that's directly in contact with food and everything, and cleanliness, the sanitizing water. you use that's fresh. And then it goes through again. Maybe you wash your clothes with it, right? Or maybe you flush the toilet with it, right? All that shower water, right? You clean your body, and then it goes through some filters. You're gonna have to change what kind of soaps you use to make this all work. You have your system in place. If you're building a house from scratch, it's one of the beauties of it is you can build this in to begin with. It's going to take forever, and it's going to get more and more expensive the longer we carry on into this tyranny that's going to unfold before us. So I'm telling you now, so you can get ahead of it. But the price of wood is about to go way up, to the point where it'd be worth it to get your own mill, learn how to mill, grow your own dang trees, coppice those fucking trees, and I'm so far from any of that, I can't even talk. I have no place to speak on the matter. I'm telling you where we're headed, where we're headed as macroeconomically as a country. You're gonna want your own mill and your own trees. It's gonna be really bad. Plant your own trees anyways. It's gonna be really good if you do. The world will thank you. For every 100 trees you plant, we'll thank you. One or two trees, shut up, get out of here. Bury yourself underneath them. We won't have time for this. Okay, so I only have 1 or 2 trees. I'm getting down on myself too. I lost my train of thought also. I'm trying to just ramble through it. Tree planting. Figure out something you can grow, even if you have a little bit of space. Fungus can grow in your closet. Cannabis can grow in your closet. I'm not telling you what to grow. If you can grow cannabis, then it's probably easier for you to grow tomatoes or peppers. They grow in similar conditions and in a similar style. So, peppers, big old demand for peppers. Especially if you get in some Trinidad Maruga scorpion peppers. You get, I forget what the hottest one is right now. You get a dragon breath. You get a Pucholokia. You get a Hungarian banana pepper. Get some peppers. Peppers are tasty and fun. They're fun to grow. A lot of stuff grows near them. We'll get real deep into this kind of stuff with permaculture, but it does. We'll just say it right now. It helps with it. Peppers are an excellent companion plant. If you have a perimeter of peppers and mint, and you have peppers interspersed in your plants, you're going to have a lot less bugs coming around. You have a group of plants over here, some peppers. Group of plants over here, some peppers. And they're all companion planted with themselves and each other. Keep everything organized and careful. And again, this is his own episode, so we'll uncover this. But for now, just know that having peppers around and throughout your garden is going to make a big difference in keeping bugs away, and it's going to add a whole lot of flavor to your dish. Hot sauce is a lucrative industry, and it's a fun thing to learn how to do. Even if you don't sell it to other people, you can just have pride in knowing that you make the best hot sauce that you've ever tasted. No one else can take that away from you. That's value. That's something for your self-esteem. And again, you need these assets that don't have a price tag. You don't know when and how they will come into play, but they always have value. They're a reason for living. I guess on the same token as fungus, now that I'm here, sourdough starter. I know that was big in the pandemic. You can carry forth. If you're already doing sourdough starter, you're way ahead of the game, and you should be thinking about how to take that skill to the next level by now. and definitely comes into play in the middle of nowhere where you're living, you know, on your own, on or off the grid, up to you. I chose off. I chose to live off the grid. I'm not currently living off the grid, but I was for a long time, and I want to go back at some point. But it's we'll talk about it. So this has been a brief overview of what you can do to change the direction, the course that your life is going in, hopefully for the better. It'll, again, you get the freedom to choose how you want to suffer and what it is you're suffering for. You have some resistance that you can provide, some paths of resistance that you can provide towards the people that you're angry at. And this is important. I believe that you can do this. I believe that it is up to you to decide exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It's everyone's personal decision. Some people they have to live in the city, and there's only so much I can do for you. If you choose to work the job you're working today, the job you're currently in, if you think that's going to be the job you're going to have next year, and if the house you're living in today is the house you're going to be living in next year, then more power to you. I hope you got something out of this, because there's not a whole lot I don't have that mindset, and I can't teach it. I mean, I can kind of teach it. I can teach parts of it, because I've met people, and I don't know. I'm aware of my surroundings, and I have empathy. To a point, I've noticed things. I could kind of teach it, but it's not me, and it's not my style. So there's only so much I can do. If you think you're going to be in the job you're going to be in the place you want to pay the same landlord, the same rent, and you want to have, I don't know, I was working at Burger King, and I had the same landlord for like 2 years, and I hated all of it. And that's after I tried all of what I'm describing to you and got in a situation where I had to be out for a while. I had to be back. I had to be a master of two worlds for a while, and now I have to share my boon with my community. It's an essential step. It's apotheosis for the next journey, the journey after that. So it's fun stuff. That's my train of thought. You got your assets, your liabilities. Now, as far as liabilities go, your current belief system, all the things that you think you have to do right now, think about whether or not you really have to do them. You know what changed it for me was like, fuck yeah. Yeah, I don't have to do none of this shit. I'm gonna go live in the dirt and in a tent. I'm gonna fuck it. If I'm gonna be homeless, I'm gonna be homeless my way. I got a fence that's legally mine. I got a hectare of land that is legally mine in the eyes of the law, and I can just sit on it. I started in a tent. Nah, your asset is your first liability is your mindset. The first thing is they want you in a state of learned helplessness. This is very easy to achieve. It's easier to fall into a state of fear and helplessness than it is to do what I'm telling you. Your first liability is your mindset. Your first asset are the skills you're about to teach yourself. Go get it. The first asset are the people in your life, your friends, your family, the people you like and get along with. Your first asset are your personality traits and your talents and your emotional intelligence. Your first liability, if you haven't been seeing a therapist, is to go find a damn good therapist, one that suits you. And might I recommend some neurofeedback or EMDR? EMDR is pretty harsh, but whatever. May I recommend checking out some holotropic breathwork? Try some art therapy. Try some MDMA or some psilocybin or some ketamine. Don't just fuck around with the talk therapy. There's still electroconvulsive therapy. It's still a thing, and that's very different from, it's like the opposite of neurofeedback. Neurofeedback is gentle. If I say I'm getting zapped, I don't mean literally. I mean, I just need my guts rearranged to be a little bit smarter tomorrow. That's a nasty metaphor, and I'm here for it. Get your shit together. When it comes to liabilities, one of the things that makes capitalism work, this is the very first week one of Yale's financial planning class, which by the way is also one of the free, it's more accessible to the general public to take. It's Yale. They have an Ivy in their league. You can get Ivy League quality education from an Ivy League institution for fucking free. Fuck it. Who gives a fuck if it's some stuffy ass shirt? You know, it's got prestige. You can then go to an employer and say, I took a class from Yale. You can go on TV like I'm here right now. Oh, I went to Yale. I went to Harvard. I went to MIT. I went to Princeton. I went to Johns Hopkins. I went to Duke. You know what I did? I went online to the internet where they have a thing called MOOCs. It's important. Get with the times, y'all. This is the fucking internet age. This is the age of information. Your liability is that you've been sitting in front of the TV watching Netflix, because Netflix has record numbers and they are having record profits, and Amazon is having record numbers and Amazon is having record profits, and Walmart and Lucky's, Save Mart, whatever, they're all having a great fucking time, and you're not. You heard? Okay? You want to have a good time. You want to enjoy this life. I'm not saying embrace capitalism. I'm saying that these are tools that you can use how you see fit. You can make them a bit more social by building enough wealth that's shared with the community. By being a source, being a place that of abundance, where people can go to get their peace. PEACE. If you want to teach someone like I'm teaching you, if you know something, get on Udemy, get a paycheck. There's paths for you, your way, right? Follow your bliss, like Joseph Campbell says. Figure it out. There's pieces to this puzzle. Your first assets are your knowledge, your emotional intelligence, and your intellectual intelligence. Your creative intelligence, how you put this information together, is part of your path. It's part of how your life experiences will teach you things, and it'll all come together when you're ready. That's part of following your bliss. It's important. It's important shit. Your first liability is your mindset, Your first liability is your mindset. When it comes to liabilities, if you go to a Yale, there's this class. It's financial planning or something. I'll put it up. You'll see it. You take these classes, and the first thing that they're going to say is insurance. And you're sitting here like, I paid all this money to insurance for them to deny my claims. I have a whole song. I can't wait to sing it for you, but not now. When they deny your claims for higher pay, this higher pay has got me down. It has got me down. When they deny your medical claims, when they deny your insurance and you've been paying them faithfully, and they're not going to cover you for some shit that they knew about ahead of time, and now they want to act like it's a pre-existing condition. They want to cause all kinds of problems, and it makes me sad, and it's making me and my family suffer right now. The reason we have insurance is that people are able to take risks. It's a liability to pay for insurance that isn't covering your ass. And it's an asset to have insurance that does cover your ass. I don't know enough about this to explain further, but the reason that we can do any capitalistic shit has to do with insurance. Warren Buffett makes all of his investments off of float. Not all. He's fucking almost $1 trillion. His Berkshire Hathaway is almost $1 trillion company. He bought it for like, I don't even remember, pennies. By comparison, fractions of pennies compared to what he's worth now. And it is a textile company. So use your imagination, get creative. Don't worry about, reality is what you make of it. Dude bought a textile company and now it's an investment firm. Textiles are like part of its history. It's just history. He was buying up newspapers and sees candy. He's buying up newspapers and sees candy and whatever, what have you. Get creative. Everything flows together. Someone out there is buying theirs, and you're sitting there saying, I'm not getting paid enough. And I'm not getting paid enough either. And I want to get paid more. I want to get paid what I think I'm worth, not what someone else thinks I'm worth. I want you to have that mindset. I want you to have that mindset. Do you understand me? I want you to think I am worth something. I am worth the time that I'm spending. I am worth this dollar. You know, whatever it costs for me to live, whatever value you're bringing to the company that you're working for, you're worth a lot more than you're getting paid. You know it. I know it. They know it. Everyone knows it. The first thing you have to get is your mindset right. You are worth something. You have value in society. You have value to the world, and you have to find your value. You might have to make your value, and if you know what your value is right now, then you have to learn how to sell your value, and that part's going to be just as painful. You have to choose your suffering. Would you rather suffer as an artist? Would you rather suffer as a musician, trying to learn how to make money as a musician, right? If that's your passion in life, would you rather try than to sit there in your parents' basement working a freaking, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Do you really want to deal with some hardships when life is so full of wonder? And you are worth something, my friend. You are. Your income. You use those starting assets to fix your income. This is different from your expenses. You can keep your income the same and lower your expenses. You can keep your income the same and build up your assets. It depends on where you're at in life. You can keep your income the same and lower your liabilities. That might mean disconnecting from alcoholics or your own personal drug habit. This might mean there are liabilities. I'd say that for me, smoking weed as much as I do is part of my mindset liability. It's a subset of a mindset liability. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't be able to function quite the same without a little bit of cannabis in my life. So it's about balance, and it's about choosing, in my case, choosing to work and use my asset, which is my mind and my voice. And I don't know, my personality. I can just project into the camera and try to be myself. And maybe someone will hear me, and maybe someone will feel it. And you have an asset. And don't discount, don't listen to people if all you got right now is making cute AI memes, then more power to you. Figure out a way to take your shitty, your shitty AI pictures and turn it into a field of green, right? Use that as manure. Your shitty AI pictures, that's just manure for your trees to grow. It'll bear fruit one day. It will. Make sure of it. Be part of that process. This is for everyone. These are incremental. You can do this incrementally, and you can make big changes. You can do this. You got to be organized, which I'm not, and I managed to get a lot done. And you got to be good with money, which I'm better now. I learned the hard way. But everything has its place. You have a place in this world, and you have value. Your value is not what other people say it is. Your value is probably close to what your insurance policy would be like. You know, what was it called? I'll put that book on the screen. I'll remember what it is, and I'll put it on the screen. Walmart files policies about people against their knowledge and consent. Then they make like $700,000 when they hire an old person as a greeter. They get a policy against them, and they'll make like 6 figures off of that greeter that they're paying minimum wage. Who shouldn't be working at all. They should be at home with their grandkids, or just watching TV and drinking beer and enjoying their retirement. Just learning. They should be forging. I knew a guy who started as a priest, and when he retired, he learned how to forge swords. He learned how to like make his own hammers and shit. It was weird. It was cool. He's probably passed on by now. It's a funny Josh Johnson sketch about that, but it's not funny to think about it in personal terms. Learn a new skill. You can use that skill to lower your expenses. You can use that skill to build up your assets. You can use that skill to eliminate your liabilities. You can use that skill to improve your income. You have these quadrants. You change the bad. You lower the bad quadrants and you raise the good quadrants, and somehow or another, sooner or later, cash will flow. You save that cash. You save that in dividends and in hard assets and things that are hard to find and things that are harder to fuck with and things that are a little bit more socially acceptable. Compared to socially acceptable. We think that socially acceptable means being good to each other. A corporation thinks socially acceptable is enslaving people in the third world countries and underpaying people here and denying claims on insurance for sickly old men. Where was I? You gotta get your peace. P-E-A-C-E. You need to get your peace. P-I-E-C-E. You gotta work your assets. You gotta keep away from liabilities. You gotta lower your expenses. You gotta raise your income. I don't know what that's gonna look like for you. But you can raise chickens. You can raise rabbits. You can raise frogs or snails. You can get all French with it. I don't know. People get weird. Fun. You can raise oyster mushrooms. You can raise all kinds of vegetables in a garden. A lot of people don't have that kind of space, but even in a closet, you'd be amazed what you can do. It's worth it to try. Anything you can do to lower your expenses is a good first step. Anything you can do to improve your mental situation, and any hobbies that you can find for free are good first steps. If you have a phone, you can start a podcast. If you have a computer, you can start a music production label. The whole label. No, really. I'll teach that in a separate lesson. If you have anything you can save up, you can get some cheap land. There are so many paths towards success, and it's going to take some hard work and creativity on your part. But it's going to be hard work with no possibility of creativity. It's going to be drudgery and misery for a long time if you choose to let them decide your worth for you. Do not participate in their system. Do not buy into the system, and you will be okay. What I mean by that is being an Amazon customer and working at Amazon. What I mean by that is that part. If you do the other part, then you can be a community leader. And you decide how those resources are flowing. And you can be part of the solution on a grander scale because you have made your way. You have wedged through. And some of that wealth is coming from them. That's the trickle down. You just collect their piss and fertilize your crops with it. Right? You eat the rich in barbecue sauce. I don't know. Whatever works for you. Use their ways against them. It's not what you're doing that's wrong. It's how you do it. If you don't exploit people, raise them up. Look. Jay-Z could have been a billionaire by himself. Right? He has a whole crew with him. Kanye maybe didn't need Jay-Z to be famous. J. Cole maybe didn't need Jay-Z to be famous. Now they're running their own labels, right? Wheezy, same deal. You hear what I'm saying? They come back around. Nipsey Hussle came back around. He gave back to his community, right? Tupac, all the time, given to his community. Kendrick Lamar, all the time, putting his wealth and charisma, his leadership towards his community. It's not Bob Marley, right? I mean, he didn't really make a whole lot of money in his lifetime, but the Marley family right now, the Marley children and grandchildren, giving all kinds back to so much love back to their community. It's not they're not necessarily capitalists. They're just living in the capitalistic system. Then, from that higher that better vantage point, they have an ability to make significant changes. And these rules apply to all of us. It's being used in shitty ways because unethical people are doing it, and ethical people are like, well, that's just what you do. They're capitalists. That's why we need to get rid of capitalism. Well, the infrastructure is infrastructure. Our medical supplies are important. You want to have access to certain resources. You want to have a post office. You maybe don't want Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or Chase, but a new banking system wouldn't hurt. However that may be, it doesn't have to be crypto. But are you following along with me? Do whatever you gotta do to make what you gotta make. 'Cause you should be getting it. Getting while the getting is good. You should be getting it. Getting while the getting is good. Seven wonders of the world. Go by plane, boat, bicycle, camo, canoe, and limo to the seven wonders of the world. Visit them one time and then never again. Save the ocean animals. Fund and be a crew member on a month-long research expedition. Just 1 month and then never again. Be a jet setter. Have your own personal jet available for 1 year. Just 1 year. You don't own it. You're just renting it. To whisk you away whenever and wherever your heart desires. Which, for 1 year. Golf around the world. You take 3 friends to a first-class 5-star resort to play 50 games of golf. Okay. A kid's library. Add a wing in your city's library devoted to young writers and artists. Art celebrities visit often to support your work. Now that is a dream. That's real. South Sea Island Fantasy. Pampered in luxury for 2 months. Just 2 months. You don't own the island. You're just there for 2 months. Capitalist Peace Corps. Set up entrepreneurial business schools in third world nations. Instructors are business people donating their knowledge and time. That is a real dream. Cruise the Mediterranean. Visit small harbors in Italy, France, Greece for a month. 12 friends. Private yacht. Do you get to keep the yacht? What's the deal with that? You're just on a journey for 1 month. Many thought in the city. I love this one. It's one of my favorite favorites. Yes. African Photo Safari. Take 6 friends on a wild safari. Photographing. Enjoy 5-star luxury in your tent. You should just leave Africa alone. At this point, is tourism in Africa really our dream? Aside from boosting the local economy. Buy a forest. Stop the loss of ancient trees. Donate 1,000 acres of forest and create a nature walk for all to enjoy. How long does it last? As long as the forest lasts. This is, of course, my #1 favorite choice. It is the best possible of all choices. It's the one I choose every time. But we're going to come back around to it. Protein box seats. 12-person private skybox booth. Your favorite team stadium. So it's your box seats for an indefinite amount of time. You could go watch. You'd have to really like that team or own it. Ancient Asian cities. A private plane and guide take you and 5 friends to the most remote spots of Asia where no tourists have gone before. It was a one-time vacation. Stock market for kids. Fund a business and investment school for young capitalists, teaching them the basics of business. The school includes a mini stock exchange run by the students. So this is one that I personally would never choose, but it is in its own way a righteous choice. Yacht racing. Fuck that. Cannes Film Festival. Go one time. Spend 1 week. Spend 1 week one time at the Cannes Film Festival. You don't even get to put a movie in. This is a millionaire's dream. If you had $1 million, you don't even want to make your own movie and see if it's worth winning something there. No. Okay. Private fishing cabin on a Montana lake. Now we're going to talk about this for sure, but in real life, 6 months of solitude. Like, oh, you're like renting this. If you're like, you get to enjoy it for 6 months, and it comes with the use of a float plane. But do you own these things, or is it just it's just a rental after all that? Park named after you. You know, I mean, it's mostly for ego, but it's a dream. Run for mayor. This is the start of your presidential race. Not for everyone, but okay. It's a good goal. It's not for everyone, and a lot of people who choose to do it shouldn't. Gift of faith. Your religious organization needs a new building. You put your name on it. Uh, Ski in the Alps one time with a helicopter in a medieval castle. You can do that on Airbnb right now. Dinner with the president. Fuck no. Research Center for Cancer and AIDS. For me, this seems a little like something's off about it, but it's more about the wording than the goal. It's a good goal. You bring together top researchers and doctors to one place dedicated to eliminating these two diseases. Cancer is more than one disease. Seven wonders. Oh, we're back to the start. We did it. All right, let's go to the correct one and forget about it. It was my turn. And it was uneventful. Many fun in the city. Ah, that's the deal I wanted. No. And you can see at this point in things, I'm playing an entirely different game. I'm sitting here with $13 million that I really didn't earn. It was just it was just gambling and patience. We'll see if it pays off. Do I get to end the rat race before everyone else? My first argument is, does it matter? At this point, I already have more cash in my pocket than anyone else in the game combined. I can buy everything outside of the rat race. I can buy everything on the board with $13 million. I could also get back into debt. We're gonna watch. That's not this game, but oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll see. I had to take a short break. The game continued on without me. It's not quite my turn yet. Well, it won't be, but I'm offered a deal on the house. $90, 90,000 is not enough. The maximum offered here is 135,000. And besides that, you don't actually want to sell any of your assets once you have them. You don't sell it for the quick cash. You keep it around forever. But if I was going to sell, I wouldn't sell it for 90,000. If there's a reason, and if you play this in another style, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to sell a house in order to get a better investment some other way. But for me, I just put it all in the stock market, win big right away, and then go from there. Blue, oh yeah, Blue got out of the rat race, so I got to catch up to Blue, and I've been downsized, so this could take a minute. I might be able to flip this.
No, I wasn't offered the deal before I had a chance to roll the dice. There's a deal I could be offered where I could win this. Um, Big deals only now. It's not really true, but we're going to do it like that for the sake of making this faster. Um, if the other players, blue can't be one of them because he won't even roll on those squares anymore. It's a whole different game when you get out of the rat race. Let's spend some money. You can tell I'm getting a little bored and restless now. Get a little antsy. Oh, it's tempting, but I have $13 million, so I'll pass. 135,000, like I mentioned before, is the most that you can get from that in this game. Blue hasn't made any deals yet, still going around the board. Can't necessarily afford everything because he rushed through. I like to take my sweet time getting out of the rat race. Yeah, it's like the blob oozing through the city. The further along you ooze, the more ops you accumulate. I'm in positive cash flow. Oh, that's me, the tenant who damages property and then refuses to pay. That would be karma in real life. I would deserve it if it happened to me. It'd be karma. What do you say? Look, these are small, big deals. Take forever. I'm waiting for a specific deal to come up. In real life, opportunities are everywhere, all of the time. You are surrounded and or drowning in opportunities. The ones that you are able to take, the ones that you are able to notice, etc., depends on things. Mostly how much money in your pocket and how much knowledge is in your head. And if you have knowledge in your head, you're probably better off than the money in your pocket. You can get money in the pocket if you have knowledge in your head. Give me the goats. See, I'd be further away from winning if I sold my houses now. I would. This bar here needs to raise, like the oranges. And blues is a whole separate bar, secondary bar. This is a board game. In real life, this is a real life board game. You can buy it for like $70. I think I even saw it at Target. I know it's on Amazon. But yeah, so, yep. You can play it for free on the website if you're willing to give up your email and such. Um, it's probably a better trade than $70. Spend that $70 on some dividend accumulating stock instead. $70 would be about 35 shares of some more News' stock if you wanted to invest in that. I'm up to 15 shares today. Decided to treat myself. Do these say? Let's do small. Still haven't gotten it. See, I should have done big. So I have. Okay, look. What we're doing here is that I'm on my turn going for a big deal. But what I really want is one of these other players on their turn to get a specific type of little deal, and we'll talk about it if and when it shows up. Statistically speaking, it should have showed up already. Uh, but sometimes the games are like that. We go for the big deals. That's not a big deal. Look how crappy that is. I mean, okay, this is what makes it a big deal. It's a good return, and it's a good return. But also, like, $150 cash flow. We were getting equal and better deals from that in the small. Look at that. That's a small deal. $300 cash flow. So that's what I'm talking about. You can buy other players' dreams. Then it costs double for them. For the most part, you just win by getting around. You set goals first. You get to either 50,000 cash flow in the big board, or you hit your dream. It's mostly the two ways of winning. Because going around the board to try to hit your dream can take a long time. So yeah, big deals only. This is one. That's a good one. Limited partnership, auto dealership. Those can get randomly sold out from under you, and then you get a profit. You get a profit from that, and that's true in real life too. But it's like, well, shit, I was having fun running an auto dealership. I was getting into it. I'd like to repeat again. I am no longer at any sort of risk in this game. Whether I win or lose, I win. I win. I lose upwards from here on forward because I did the thing. For the rest of the game, even if I lose, I still lost with the most assets. I lost with the most cash in my pocket and the most assets. I don't think I'm going to lose though, or I don't know. It depends what blue does. Mostly depends on what blue does. It's taking forever though. I usually win a little faster than this. That wasn't it either. Should have gone with the big one. Always go with the big deals. Discipline is good. C for self-discipline. It's a really bad deal. Most of the condos in this game aren't a good deal. The two ones, they discourage you from doing that. The whole reason that Airbnb came about was saying higher and better use, one of the most sinister terms in capitalism. Basically saying a home is enough. A whole house isn't what you rent out. You rent out each individual room. You rent them out for the price that you used to rent out the whole house. And they can share the kitchen. It's horrifying. Only big deals. God damn it. I'm getting fucked over. We're waiting for this specific thing to happen where the dividend stocks come in. And in this game, they train you to not invest in dividend stocks. The only time it's relevant to invest in dividend stocks is when you have so much fucking money that you can just put it anywhere to make more money. That's part of it. But also, if you actually want to own the company, you can reinvest those dividends back into earning more stocks, and sooner or later for a broke person, but sooner for Warren Buffett, you'll just own the fucking company. Potentially a hostile takeover. They're worth it if you're taking over things that fuck over other. If you're taking over businesses that fuck over people, it's really worth it. It's definitely worth it. Getting so restless. Getting so restless. I'm gonna speed through this in post though, so it's all good. I'll probably use Reaper instead of DaVinci Resolve. Just a little editing tip I'm gonna share. If I learn it, then you can learn it too. Um, big deals only. God damn it! Look, negative cash flow. Now I'm rich enough that it doesn't matter, but also like I'm gonna pass on it just out of principle. They want you to not invest in deals that have negative cash flow. They don't want you to invest in dividends because you're gonna spend more than you're gonna get in cash flow. takes forever to get strictly from dividend-producing stock. It should always be part of your portfolio. It should be a big part of your portfolio. It's easy money. And then you take that and you do something useful with it. Now 2 players are out of the game, if I'm waiting for 2 other people to click on the thing, there's 2 less people to do that. That's what I'm trying to say. Should probably switch to small deals. What do y'all think? Ah! Oh, fuck it. Do 10,000. 100,000. So I can totally afford it. So we'll just get 100,000 of that stock and go around again. We're already going around, so might as well. It was killing it. See, one reason you don't want cash is because even up there, you can lose all your cash. You could have $0 in your bank account, but your properties are generating. See what happened here? Hold on. Okay, so in this little circle here, it's per week, per week. These yellow things represent 1 week. These yellow things represent 1 day. This is all the things that can happen to you in 1 day. But then, whatever your maximum cash flow is, I'll show you here. That's my cash. That's my cash flow. Passive income. They times that by 10 or 100. Whatever. They add some zeros to it, and that's your daily. And because that's our goal here. That's our mission. It's not going to happen this turn. I'm going to get out of it with dividends, I think. If anyone else will land on it, or if I choose small as an option, and if that works out for me for once. Which I might as well now that I have stock again. Because that's going to be another 400,000. No. 4 million. Yeah, that's how to turn 1 million into 4 million. And again, I'm not even supposed to be here already. I'm rich enough to be up here. Keep rolling back. Might as well. This one I'm just going to max out because I can afford 5 million in these. That'll get me 40 million at the end. 40 or 50. Depends on the 30, 40, or 50, depending on which card I draw. I can pull out at any time. Smoking like a true addict. 40-minute game. Gonna be old Ben by the time this is over. There we go. That's good enough. 30 million's plenty. So now I have 37 million, and I'm still not out of the rat race. I'm still a wage slave at my airline job. I don't owe that much. I could get out of this a different way. I'm trying to show you something. Here we go. We did it. All right. So, 32. We're going to want 80,000. Did I map that right? I don't think so. Just 8,000. That's the wrong button. Okay. Yeah, 32 million. And now we're out of the rat race. Check it out. Passive income, $162,000. That's per week, y'all, in this fake ass game. But okay, now notice, I still owe money on all this shit. I just said yes to all these deals. I still owe. I haven't paid any of my fucking credit cards. I haven't paid my credit card loan. I haven't paid my home mortgage. Okay, when I come back around, I'm just a millionaire, and I never get asked about it again. It's assumed that by the time I get to this bigger level, that I've just paid that shit. It's assumed. You want to get out of debt. But the reality is that if tomorrow never comes, Everything's free. It's so easy. Easier. I think I still have it. No, I don't. So easy. All right. So increase my income by 50,000. And here's my daily income. Look at that. 16 million, 16.2 million. It's my cash flow day income. And I currently have 22 million in my pocket in this fake ass game. That's how you do it. That's how the fuck you do it. Is it gambling? Yep. There's method to all this madness. I want to play it for real. I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it laying down. I play it for real. So I kind of sort of know what I'm doing. Kind of a little bit. H.L. Hunt was a hell of a gambler. Gambling man. It's kind of a big thing with the oil men drinking, playing cards. Big oil. So now we're playing two separate games. They're spinning their wheel, and we're coasting along the board. It's not my dream. It's no one else's either, so I can't just buy it. Just buy it. And again, I can buy everything. A lot of these, like, they only get 200,000 of a turn, whatever. And if their dream is too expensive, or if they hit the wrong button, then they're not able to. They're cash poor for like a turn, and they could prevent them from winning the game. I can just ride through and say yes to everything every time. There's only one way to get cash poor for me, and that's this space right here. And even then, it's pretty rare. 42 minutes. Oh, you see here, you just go around the world, just buying up pizza franchises, collecting pizza franchises. Dry cleaners, laundromats, great businesses to own. Great businesses to own. Half of all my cash. Oh no. Oh no. I still have 35 million. I can't spend it fast enough. I lost half of all my cash and I still can't spend the other half fast enough. Oh, I forgot to share my editing thing with you. So it's Control Alt, uh, click. Control Alt click, drag. So then that's how I'm going to speed up the silent parts. And then export, drag and drop to Reaper, or to Resolve from Reaper. Someone just bought my dream. Oh no, now it's gone up in price. Last turn, I lost half of all my cash. Let's see how much cash I have right now. 41. So I have more than last time I lost half of all my cash. After losing half of all my cash, I still have 41 million. I am just striking out when it comes to my dreams. When it comes to residual income up top here. Blue one, but blue one with 1.2 million. I won with I lost with 41 million. So who really lost? In real life, we're not competing with the other person. In real life, we're competing with ourselves to be better than we were the day before.